Meet Diesel. He is no ordinary Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Diesel works for South Africa's Endangered Wildlife Trust's Carnivore Conservation Programme. Today, Diesel and handler Kelly have been called in to work on a special project with conservationist Wim Vorster.
If I need some assistance on the reserve, I'll give Kelly a call and ask if Diesel is available, because quite often he is a bit busy with some other projects. And luckily, Rietvlei is situated very close, so it's not too far for them to drive.
The team will be tracking the fastest animal on land, the extremely endangered African cheetah, at the Rietvlei Nature Reserve.
Obviously, we're working in areas where there's large dangerous animals. In some cases, we've even had to have armed guards when we've been working in areas with lions. So we decided that the best option is going to be to work him in a short lead and therefore not endanger Diesel, which is obviously the most important thing.
A dog's natural instinct can be incredibly useful for conservation. Diesel's tracking abilities are being used to locate cheetah fecal droppings known as scat. Diesel has had a huge impact on Wim's research.
It always helps to have a staffy like Diesel to give me a hand. Rietvlei is a reserve with very tall grass, especially in the summer after rain. And for me to try and walk through the grass looking for cheetah scat, it's basically like looking for a needle in a haystack.
By analysing scat, researchers like Wim are able to determine species, sex, and even the cheetah's individual identities. With this information, he can estimate population size and distribution, crucial information necessary to try and save the species. The African cheetah population is in rapid decline, and over the past 50 years, the species has become extinct in 13 countries.
We've only got less than 250 breeding pairs of cheetahs in South Africa, which is why they're vulnerable. But they aren't vulnerable because they've got any problems breeding, they're vulnerable because there's not enough habitat for them.
With cheetah numbers coming under more pressure than ever before in history, the need for fast, efficient ways of assessing population size and tracking changes in their habits and movements is becoming ever more urgent. In the long term, Diesel's contribution is actually helping to save the cats.
Using dogs in research just makes life so much easier. We were running a research project on cheetahs on a reserve further north in South Africa, and we had researchers on the ground full time. And we went along with Diesel, and it took the researchers on average something like, I think it was 26 hours to find one scat, and it took Diesel an average of an hour a scat.
As dogs evolved, so did their instinct for survival. Scent detection has been a key. They need to be able to pick up tracks in order to find prey. In fact, a dog's ability to differentiate between scents could be considered one of its greatest instinctual talents. Some dog breeds have over 200 million receptor cells in the nose, since a dog's world is almost entirely organized by scent. Whereas humans have around 5 million, since we navigate the world through sight. Diesel has been carefully trained to differentiate cheetah scat from the hundreds of other animal scats throughout the reserve.
I see it. Smart dog.
Scent detection has been absolutely key to dogs for their survival. So they need to be able to pick up tracks in order to be able to find prey, in order to be able to feed. It's not as if they're like a horse where the grass is lying around for them. They've got to go and search even though they can't necessarily see any prey. So the animals would traditionally come together and then try and find a track and follow that track in order to be able to locate a group of prey.
Did you find your poo? You're a clever man.
Dogs can easily identify over 1 million individual scent patterns, whereas humans can only distinguish about 1,000.
When Diesel's scenting for scat, what he does is it's called air scenting. The handle will walk Diesel across the direction that the wind is blowing so that he can intercept any scent of a scat. And it comes off the scat in sort of a cone shape. And what he'll do then is he'll work inside that cone, making smaller and smaller zigzags until he finds the scat.
Diesel absolutely loves this job. I've had evenings where I've been packing the car and organising our stuff for a trip, and I can't find Diesel, and he's sitting in the car waiting for me. He absolutely loves it.
Despite his natural ability, careful training is required to keep him at the very top of his game. Once a week, Diesel is trained and tested by Shannon to make sure he's still differentiating cheetah scat from the other types of scat he might find.
We bring him every Wednesday night for his class, and when I come home from work on a Wednesday, this little dog is so super excited, he's almost impossible to live with.
Shannon presents Diesel with numerous scat samples, belonging to different species. Only one is cheetah scat.
Yeah, just walk him up and let him do his job.
Diesel is set loose and immediately identifies the cheetah scat.
Good boy. Beautiful indication.
It's one thing to be training in a nice, relatively sterile environment, which is 2 minutes from your home. It's another thing to have driven in a car for 5 hours and to be in a totally different environment. Physically, it's very challenging. We have had days where we've had exceptional successes, and then we have had days that have been dismal, where we've basically walked from sunrise until it's got too dark to work, and we found nothing. It's absolutely mind-blowing that he will carry on for days on end in the hopes of finding a scat so he can get his little rubbed ball as a reward.
A Staffordshire Terrier has a strong instinct to chase prey. Training allows Diesel to associate receiving his ball with successfully scenting cheetah scat. For Diesel, the ball represents part of the chase. In the wild, if he'd found the scat, he'd be well on the way to finding his prey, so the ball is his ultimate reward.
You know, all dogs at one point in time were hunters, and they hunted for their food, and so a lot of those behaviours have remained. So for a terrier, they really get to enjoy killing something. Obviously we can't do that, but giving him his ball, he gets to exercise that prey drive. That's a very strong need that he has. I like to call it his behavioural itch.
I think, you know, dogs really enjoy working, and he's getting outdoors and he's getting a lot of exercise, a lot of attention. And dogs, I think, enjoy having a job. And I think I certainly enjoy the time that I spend with him, and I think he enjoys the time that he spends with me too.
The team hope that with Diesel's natural ability, they will be able to go some way towards ensuring the long-term survival of the cheetah.